It's commonly written that artists in the 20th century were attracted by the light of the Côte d'Azur. A large part of the village was built in the 11th century, and along with many other villages in the south of France, it became synonymous in the 20th century with many of the famous artists of that period. The house itself actually was owned by an Italian family in the 1980s who had been collecting sort of architectural antiquities over the prior 20 years, and many of those pieces were built into the house. So the floors are medieval, for example. There's an 800-year-old pillar from Verona. There's all sorts of friezes, which are sort of 16th and 17th century from various parts of Europe. Here we have this fantastic and beautiful wooden sculpture here, still with most of its original painting. He really is one of my favourite things in all my collections. He's got this incredible expression. With the colour and the costume that he's wearing, he really just takes you straight back into Renaissance Tuscany. I think I've always been a sort of natural collector, and I collected coins and First and Second World War campaign medals as a child, and then as I got into my 20s I started collecting English medieval coins, Roman coins, and then I started buying artworks in my mid-20s, and then I sort of discovered the antiquities market. The idea of the Mougins Museum was that it was created to house my collection of antiquities for study, for loaning, and available for the public to see them. Amongst those antiquities is a series of artworks from the Baroque period all the way through to the modern day. Each artwork within the museum has to have a classical context or directly classical composition. Doing that, it really shows you how the classical period has influenced artists' work from around 1600 all the way through to the contemporary period today. One of the last artists that one might think may have had a classical period in his work might be someone like Keith Haring, for example. And yet Keith Haring produced a number of terracotta vases with black stick figures on them, which are evocative of the 4th century BC black figure ancient Greek vases. The drive to keep on collecting when your house is already full and you start filling up storage facilities and creating your own museum is one where it's gone beyond simply finding somewhere that looks like it's fitting a good spot in your house to something that's a little bit more sort of manic and compulsive. I think I've always been a sort of natural collector. You know, some people have that gene and maybe some people don't. But that gene definitely exists with me, so that will go on until the day that you stop collecting or the day that you die.